these things, they're going to be exactly the same, aren't they?
Yeah,
We're talking about quality control, which means that everybody expects the same quality from every item. But if it's a person making those things, sometimes the quality isn't always the same. But if you actually use one of these 3D printers, it would always be the same. Did you suddenly think of the word?
No, not.
No, okay.
Yeah. And it, yeah.
Okay, so future use of technology. So we can see here drones. Do you know anyone with a drone? Do you have a drone?
I used to.
Okay. Did you lose it?
I sold it, yeah. So, you can see that it had the pixels because the camera.
Yeah.
And the robot inside it was like controlling the blades that had to go up. And do you know how it had the control? You had to like move it and the code. Inside the code of the computer, yes.
Yep.
They were saying they connected it to the control, and it done whatever it told, and you can land it. Yeah.
So these could be used, for instance, you know, in some countries where there's war and there are bombs. I mean, if we used drones, they could fly in and, you know, take pictures of the device and check it out. Because at the moment, you've got some poor person walking in there in, you know, some protective outfit, but it's still risky, isn't it? So for this thing, we could use drones for that.
There was a record button, yeah? You could record.
Yeah. But again, we need people to write the code for these things. And over on the right, we've got the driverless cars. Second on the left, we've got kind of a mixture of augmented reality and glasses. And then the second one on the right, we've got medical devices. So even now, because of COVID, there are a lot of doctors now who are having to work remotely. So, and also in places in the middle of nowhere where there aren't any doctors and stuff like that, can you believe they even perform operations with a doctor doing it remotely from where they live? So they can even do things, you know, inside people's bodies remotely. Have you seen anything like that?
No.
No?
Yes. I have a question. What is this glasses thing?
Okay, this is the augmented reality. So this person can see a wide expanse of what is required. Did you ever see the Google glasses?
You left out, so.
Google glasses?
No.
No, okay, so they were literally a pair of glasses with a camera, and people could actually walk along the street and actually look at this device on their glasses and see what was also happening on their screen. But some people used them, but they weren't perfect yet, and they came off the market about three years ago. But they will improve so that people will literally be able to walk down the street, but at the same time, you know how people look at their phones as they're walking down the street? Well, this device will be on their glasses so that they can, you know, read their messages as they're walking down the street and stuff like that. And this guy here, he's actually using augmented reality. So like virtual reality, where you're putting yourself in a scenario, this augmented reality enables them to actually see and put themselves inside that inside that reality. So not just observe it, but actually be there and do things.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yeah.
You see how like future pilots when they're training, is there like they're in like a thing? Is that augmented reality?
Not yet. It hasn't gone that far, no.
Or is it virtual reality? Because
At the moment, that's virtual reality. Yeah, yeah. Have you done one of those?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get something very similar in some leisure parks.
Yeah.
You get some rides like that. So I've done that because I used to work for a Canadian aviation company, and we used to go inside those, and it felt real.
Yeah.
And you can get computer games virtually that do the same thing, can't you?
Yeah. It looked very real.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm not sure, because I think the code, yes, you like connect something, that's Bluetooth to the code. When you move your hand, you're on the screen, and it looks real.
That's right. Yeah. As we're saying, you know, that technology will improve all the time, so that it almost becomes seamless. It almost doesn't look unnatural. It just becomes the normal for the way we work and live and order our items, you know, and stuff like that. So these guys are people from the past who have done great things about computer science. The first one you've probably heard of. His name is Alan Turing.
Yeah, and this man, and this one, this person,
Tim Berners-Lee. Yeah. What do you relate Tim Berners-Lee to?
The computer bug.
WWW, World Wide Web.
Yeah.
And yeah. So the first guy, Alan Turing, have you heard of Bletchley Park? That's near Milton Keynes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in the war in Bletchley Park, they had lots of people who were trying to crack the code from the Germans. So the Germans were sending messages between themselves saying, we're sending 500 soldiers to this place. And what these people at Bletchley Park tried to do was to intercept those codes so that they knew where the German soldiers were going to be, so that they could get there before them. And cryptanalysts like Alan Turing, these people reduced the length of the war because of managing to crack all these codes. Have you heard of him?
No.
Okay. Do you live anywhere near Milton Keynes? Where do you live?
London.
Are you in London?
Yeah.
Are you in London?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Bletchley Park is certainly worth a visit, and it's all about these people. This second person, Ada Lovelace.
Computer.
Yeah.
The first code. And the computer. Yeah.
Yeah. So this person here, I mean, look at her picture. It looks like she was around forever ago, doesn't it? Her name is Ada Lovelace, and she was actually considered the very first programmer.
Yeah.
And you see the one on the far right, Grace Hopper. So she actually made the first compiler for a programming language. Do you remember the first lesson where we were trying to write some Python code in a compiler? So Grace Hopper was the person that we can thank for that. And have you heard of a computer bug?
Yeah.
Okay.
She made
This was because Grace Hopper, she was working at her computer, and one day
went inside the computer.
That's right.
And it stopped
That's
working.
right. Yeah, that's right. And she was and you know, ever since then we've called it a computer bug. Have you ever heard of this guy, bottom left, John von Neumann?
No.
Okay, so there's something called von Neumann architecture, which it's got nothing to do with buildings. It's got to do with the way the computer is built. So John von Neumann was the person who designed the processing unit that is in computers, and he was the first one. He managed to enable the computer to save the data and the instructions in one place. So that's what that person did.
Yeah.
The one in the red sweater there, she developed the way search engines work. Her name was Spark Jones, Karen Spark Jones.
Yeah.
And the next one, you've heard of AI?
Yes.
You know what it stands for?
No.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's like a bot.
Okay. So what it does is instead of somebody having to solve